BSides DC would like to thank all of our sponsors, and a special thank you to all of our speakers, volunteers, and organizers.
Okay, is everyone ready for CryptKids? Samantha, like CryptKids, whatever, but Samantha, that's who we want, right? So I asked Samantha to speak this year because Samantha started working with me when she was like y'all's age, right? So she's been here since the beginning, and I've kind of watched her grow up, and she's a really impressive young lady. Did everyone read her bio in the program? Yeah. Okay, so then I won't. Who didn't read it? Okay, so for those who didn't read it, so just so you know how impressive this is, she recently completed her 3rd summer working as an embedded software engineer for a defense contractor. Okay? And she's a high school junior. All right? I know some adults who can't get jobs like that. No offense, guys. She competed in her first LEGO League for 4 years, reaching the International Invitational in her final year of middle school. She also co-founded a student voice council that uses statistical analysis of county data and grassroots organization to change discriminatory practices against underrepresented student populations. Okay, I've worked with her at BSides Charm. She runs the volunteers there, and she also runs Blue Team Village Volunteers at DEF CON and does an amazing job doing both. And she's run my escape rooms for me for the last couple years, but she's kind of like, doesn't have time for me this year. But she did graciously agree to Keynote before she had other things she had to attend to. So with no further ado, please welcome Miss Samantha Mosley.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thanks, Jenny, for that wonderful introduction. So my name is Samantha Mosley. Right now I'm a little sick, so sorry about the voice. So you can find me on Twitter at Prodigy. Just a shout out to Buddy from Bacon Con. He gave me that handle a few years ago. So some of my experience, I'm an 8-time graduate of Girls Who Code. I did first LEGO League for a few years, and we went to the International Invitationals. I've been an intern at various places. I was once a website developer, and right now I'm focusing on creating a legacy at my high school with the Student Voice Council. So who's ready for KidsCon? Yeah. So is this anybody's first ever BSides? Yeah? Well, this was also my first BSides a few years ago. So in 2016, I came here for the very first time. This picture's from 2017, but you know, it's very close. So I understand that it was very overwhelming, and I got to meet tons of new people while I was here, and I discovered a love for volunteering and working with different people who have different opportunities and experiences than I do. And none of that would have happened without BSides CryptKids. So that very first shift, that very first year, I was assigned to snap circuits. So back then, I had no idea what snap circuits were or what they did. So basically, it's a way to learn how circuits work together, how electricity can flow through wires and things. So throughout the day, I had to talk to different people and actually learn how these worked so that I could help other people learn how they worked. And so that was a very interesting opportunity, getting to learn how snap circuits worked, how circuits worked, and then also being able to teach others. So that's me and my brother. We were working with a Raspberry Pi at the time, trying to make like a photo booth type app. Here's us with the Raspberry Pi. So I had a little bit of experience at this point, but my brother didn't know anything about programming. And so we went through every step and we looked through how the computer thinks and how exactly we can tell it what we want it to do. And we started with Legos, lovely Legos in the background. So I've mostly been coming to these because my dad brought me the first few years. So he would come to all these conferences, and one time he was the Fox for the wireless CTF. So CTF stands for Capture the Flag, and I don't know much about it other than there's a fox and you try to find the fox. But we have one of those this year. It's wonderful, and Apparently it's very fun if you get to be the fox or if you can find the fox. So I do know a little bit about my first project. So in 4th grade, we were told to study the founding fathers, right? Like George Washington and people like that. So being that I was in 4th grade, you know, how do you study? Like, what is that? I made a Xcode app for my mom's iPhone. Isn't that fun? So I had very minimal experience. It was my very first project. But that opened my eyes, and it helped me to see that computers will do what you tell them to. You just have to figure out how to talk to them. So who's ready for a competition? Anyone? So I need 3 volunteers. All right. How about you two can come together and please bring your adult. You can come on up, and then way back there, you can come on up too. And everyone, please bring your adult. So we're gonna try to find out who can put words in alphabetical order first, a computer or our volunteers, all right? So, come on. Alrighty. So who wants to be our volunteer working with the computer? You? Okay, so if you want to step over here. And then who wants to put the words in alphabetical order? Who's good at that? You're good at that? All right. So hold on to those cards. And then our last volunteer, you're going to keep time. Okay? All right, hold on to that. So what's going to happen is our volunteer on the computer, here, let's turn this on. All right, so you're going to hit enter, okay? And this is the enter key, but wait until I say go, okay? And then it's going to pop up 2 lists, okay? The first one is not alphabetical, and then the second one is. Okay? And then you're going to put the words in alphabetical order, all right? And then first one to finish, I want you to put your hands up, okay?
Okay.
And then when someone puts their hands up, you're going to start keeping time, okay? And then when the other person finishes, you put your hands up, and then you stop the time, okay? Are we ready?
I'm gonna lose this.
Okay, ready, set, go. That's the order. Put your hands up.
Put your hands up.
Put your hands up.
You started. Good job. I thought you said you weren't going to do it.
I'm gonna go help.
All right.
19 seconds, 19.87 seconds.
Can you say that again? Go ahead.
19.87 seconds.
All right. Did everyone hear that? Okay. No?
I'm going to do it in your
19.87 seconds.
And who won?
The computer.
All right.
That was quick.
Why don't you tell everyone how it worked?
I don't know.
And then how did you guys put the words in alphabetical order?
We just have the alphabet memorized because we have, and so we just put them in the order, like from the one that's first in the alphabet to the one that's last in the alphabet, like a dictionary or like an encyclopedia or.
All right. So let's go over exactly how the computer thought through that in regards to how our volunteers thought through that. So on the computer, this is what he first saw, this list of words not quite in alphabetical order yet. And then, come on, the words popped up in alphabetical order, right? Is that what you saw?
Yes.
All right.
And it was extremely confusing because I didn't all I did was press enter and it was like, Oh,
So, do you want to know how it thought through that?
yes.
Okay, here we go. So, this was written in Python. For those of you that know what Python is, it's basically a language that both humans can understand and computers can understand. So, we're just going to go quickly through the code so we know exactly how it put the words in alphabetical order, yeah? So first, we gave it the words, right? All these words on the note cards over here. And then we set our window, so where it was going to draw the blocks. And then we had to teach it a trick. We had to teach it how to show us what the words were, right? So it's just like training a dog, right? You have to tell it how it works, how it should do it, and then later you can call it and say, hey, can you do that trick for me? And then we tell it, can you do that trick for me? Can you put the words just as they are? Can you show them to me? And then it sorts the words by alphabetical order. Then it sleeps for 3 seconds, just waiting for a second. And then it draws out our words in alphabetical order, showing us that it completed its task. And then it closes the window. Right?
That's actually a lot more simple than I thought.
Right?
What is all of this like all of these codes? And why do they all like repeat over and over?
That's testing.
Oh.
So I ran it over and over again to see if it worked, right? Yeah. So thank you to our volunteers. So let's talk about what exactly computers are doing for us. So we saw that the computer was able to put the words in alphabetical order first, and that's really cool. So computers are mainly used to process data into information. So taking numbers or letters and putting them into words and then abstracting them even farther than that. So it makes a pattern out of numbers. So it's like it saw that the first letter of each word was different and then it put them into a pattern that we already recognize. And computers are really just a tool for humans to compute faster, hence the name computers. They compute computers. So if you want to learn more about how exactly computers process data and how they secure your data, be sure to visit the Crypto Village. And then if you want to learn more about the physical components of the computer and how they are processing the data, be sure to visit the Destruction Village. So there you can also play the tech scavenger hunt to get a walkthrough of what each and every component is doing. All right, so who knows what the cloud is? Anyone? Oh, good, good. So I'm not really talking about the cloud. I'm talking about a weather cloud. Maybe one that turns blue when it's raining or purple when it's snowing. So these are run by a Raspberry Pi, right? That's not this or this. It's more like this. It's about this big. So very, very small, kind of like the size of a cell phone. So these are relatively inexpensive, little tiny computers, and they have a wide variety of purposes. You can use them to make a cloud, you can use them for your school. Maybe one day you'll bring it to your school, and your teacher will lock it in a filing cabinet and lose the key. Maybe you have to open that filing cabinet. You never know. So it's very important to understand how to pick locks and security, because your teacher might lose your Raspberry Pi and you gotta find it. So if you visit the Lockpick Village, they'll walk you through how to pick locks and they'll help you to understand what exactly physical security is. How like, if you hit a lock hard enough with a hammer, it might open, but you didn't have the keys. And through that, you'll improve your knowledge as a future consumer, so you'll know, maybe I shouldn't buy a super expensive lock because I can just hit it with a hammer and it'll open. And you'll also explore security theater, which is very prominent in election machines, and that's what that picture is. So it's basically how you think something's secure, but maybe it's not. And with Raspberry Pis, you may notice that there's really no screen, there's no keyboard. How do I talk to this? So you have to solder pieces onto it. And soldering, you basically take two wires, and in order to make an electrical connection, you melt the solder and then connect the two wires, and then electricity can flow through, allowing one device to talk to another. So these are very, very hot, right? Extremely hot. It has to melt metal. So sometimes you might make a mistake. You might burn yourself. But that's okay. You'll just have a little tiny scar. It's really nothing. It's fine. But it's a mistake, and you'll learn from that mistake. You'll know, like, oh, I can't touch myself with a soldering iron. It will hurt. And mistakes can also happen in the form of maybe overheating a motherboard, and it starts smoking. You know, things like that happen. But it's okay. We can fix them. Yeah, this is a 3D printer. So this was built at home. That's me and my friend Faith. So our directions were in a foreign language. I don't even know what language it was. So we just kind of put it together, and that's why the motherboard started smoking. But you know, it's okay. We ordered another one, and we fixed it up. Yes?
You mean like smoking with a cigarette?
No, like when you turn the stove on and sometimes some smoke pops up, just like that. Or when you have a campfire and all their smoke goes in the trees, like that type of smoke. But it was okay because my friend and I were able to figure it out. And that's the great thing about friends. They'll always help you learn. If you have a question, they'll help you answer the question. If you need someone to talk to, they'll talk to you. If you have ideas but you don't know how to get the computer to understand, start by explaining it to your friend, and maybe they'll be able to help you. And a lot of friends can be found through different groups, like Girls Who Code, your school, local coding communities, maker spaces, or First Lego League. So I competed in First Lego League for a few years, and it was an amazing opportunity. So you compete regionally, statewide, worldwide, whatever you want, and you make Lego robots. Who here likes Legos? Right? Yeah, we like Legos. Now you can make them into a robot. Like, what? That's super cool. So you compete in teams of 2 to 10. So it can be just you and one friend, or you and a whole bunch of friends. It's available in some schools. Other schools that it's not available in, you are able to have a team at your home. And that's what the alligator thingies were. So we were a home team because my elementary school didn't have a robotics team, but they had a robotics table. So one day we just picked it up and we brought it home. And we got donations from different community members, and we started up a team. So we competed for 4 years, so that's our 5th grade year and all of middle school. We made it all the way to international invitationals once, and that was pretty cool because we got to meet people from Uruguay. Like, what? So there, it was very hard to communicate with people because we were all from different cultures and spoke different languages. But we were able to bond over First Lego League, and we really played cards for a lot of the time. But all the years that we participated in First Lego League, we stayed friends. We kept communicating with each other. Even though we went to different high schools, different middle schools, we were all over the place. Some people were interested in theater, some were in band, some did sports. Like, we were really interested in a whole different things. But we were able to stay friends and stay together and keep learning about technology and First Lego League and communicating with people and just getting things done. Yep, and we just kept on competing. So I'd like to give a friendly reminder, always give back to your community. They're your home, they're where you start out, right? So you always want to volunteer, and you always want to be willing to teach others. Because if you know something, you should tell everyone else, right? They might be interested in what you have to say, or they might not be. But you'll learn from that, and you'll learn from other people. And through giving back, you'll really broaden your interests, because you have your experiences, but what about everyone else, right? They all have their own lives, and they're all having their own experience. And in volunteering, you're providing access to different things for different people. So if you have access to a Lego robot, and you know someone that doesn't, you can make a team with them, right? You can help them learn how to use that robot. And you'll become an active community member, which is very important because the people around you, they're going to support you and they're going to help you. So you should be active with them and know who they are. So one way that my community does this is we have a Student Voice Council, which was founded last year. So we make a safe environment for students to talk about whatever they're interested in, and it's open to all students during the school day so that anyone can come. You just miss a little bit of class, you come to the media center, you talk about whatever you want. And through this, we've been able to go to the Board of Ed and tell them, hey, this is happening at our high school, it's probably happening at others, maybe you should change it. And this has really helped with legacy building, right? Because someday I'm going to graduate high school. Someday you're going to graduate from your school. You'll graduate high school too, maybe college. Then you'll get a job. Maybe you'll leave your job. But you want people to remember who you were and what you did. So it's very important to leave a legacy so that they'll know, oh, that person was really cool. Maybe if I have questions, I can go talk to them. And in order to have a legacy, you have to set goals, and you have to get yourself to achieve them. Because if you don't achieve something, well, then you didn't achieve it, right? So yeah, always aim. Always have a legacy to leave behind. Thank you. So if we have any questions, yeah, now would be the time to ask any questions you have about anything I spoke about. Yeah?
Are you going to keep on computers?
I plan to, yes. I plan to go to college and study computers a little bit more. Yeah?
In a video I saw someone saying when the campfire was smoking, they were saying like, smoke heading for the hills!
Yeah. The villages, so they'll be in the CryptKids little room. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who've not been... Hello. So for those who've not been here before, the CryptKids, you're going to go all the way down the hall to Congressional C. There is a registration table there where you'll get banded and connected to your parents, so no weirdo parents try to sneak off with you. But they're probably going to start lining up for that because the doors open in about 5 minutes. And we'll have all the villages set up in there. We'll have the crypto, we've got Legos, we've got Trash Int. We've got destruction and a tech scavenger hunt. We've got WCTF. I heard there may be foxes and hounds. So you're going to have a wonderful time. But before you leave, give everyone a huge round of applause and a thank you to Miss Samantha.